Welcome to the Bitcoin Globe Day 1234, where we are counting the days down until the next Bitcoin halving. The next Bitcoin halving. Can you imagine when this vlog, or what do you call it, a channel, when we get down to even when we get down to day 100, the countdown from those days is going to be like fantastic. Although by that time the world's going to be totally different. I'll probably look way different. Everything's going to be different about the world, because that's like 1,100 days away. So imagine how much can change in that amount of time. But when we get to the day 100 and we're counting the days down from 100, the energy is just, I feel like it's going to be great. And I want to be able to make it to the next Bitcoin halving in this life. One day at a time. We're getting one day closer to the next Bitcoin halving. And I'm excited that you're here with me. And that one day, maybe we'll get together and enjoy spending some Bitcoin on some beverages or some fancy food or whatever. We're gonna have a good time. I feel like we're gonna have a really good time. Yeah, there is a lot going on in the Bitcoin world, but not really. Like in the news, I think Japan in a few months, I think it's 2 months time, Japan's gonna make Bitcoin a legal currency, and there's a lot that that entails. But it seems positive mostly. Everything going on in the Bitcoin world seems positive. The one worry I do have is with mining being so centralized in China. What would make me feel better is if I saw big mining operations being opened in the US and other countries across the world, India, Europe. Like, I would love to see some big mining operations opening up in these parts of the world, so that's not just all in China, because it feels like it could be manipulated in some way. We don't know though, and maybe, who knows, maybe it's perfectly fine the way it is. I mean, the Winklevoss twins, who have their ETF coming up very soon, which you can actually bet on that. I'm thinking of putting a wager on that. I'm a bit of a gambler at times. I mostly lose, so don't take my advice, but I do win occasionally, and usually when I win, I'm feeling it. So you can wager on the Bitcoin ETF whether it's going to pass or whether it's going to fail. Something that's interesting is if the regulation people, the SEC, if they don't act by September, Bitcoin startups from association after Reserve Bank of India. Bitcoin startups form association after Reserve Bank of India's virtual currency warning. Okay, so I guess in India they put out a warning about Bitcoin, and so the exchanges there have created an association. That's what is interesting about Bitcoin, is it brings us together in a different way. It's uniting us, even though it's like this. It's a peer-to-peer currency, and it's bringing us together in different ways. It's exciting. Let's see if I can get back to my last thought of wagering on the ETF. Which way am I going to wager on? I haven't seen the odds, because that's what's going to be interesting. I'm guessing the odds are going to be against it being approved. So that means if you wager on it, let's say you wagered one Bitcoin, which I would never wager one Bitcoin. I barely have one Bitcoin. If you wagered one Bitcoin on it not being approved, you'd get your one Bitcoin back if you won, and you'd probably get like 0.5 Bitcoin back for that. If you won, you'd probably get your one Bitcoin back plus another 1.5 Bitcoin. I haven't checked the odds, but I'm just guessing that's probably what it will be, something around those lines. I think I would go with the underdog pick on this, but and what I don't like about wagering or these prediction markets is how much do they actually influence? Let's say everybody's wagering that it's going to be approved. Well, then, people could take the opposite view, people up top, and then manipulate it into the way that, we're all losing our money, they win big. So you got to be careful when you're gambling, because I think even sports is rigged in a lot of ways. I actually thought football was rigged. I was watching that Patriots game, the Super Bowl. I don't think that was rigged. Some of those catches were like unbelievable for the Patriots to come back and win. The NBA I'm a bit suspicious of, because the finals always seems to go to Game 7. So if it didn't always go to Game 7, let's say it could be finished in 4 games, right? If it was finished in 4 games, then you lose out on 3 games worth of tickets and media and commercials. That's a lot of money you're missing out on. Come on, you've rigged that shit, so it's always going to game 7. There may come a time where it only goes to game 6, but you're at least gonna go to game 6, and you're probably gonna go to game 7 because who's not gonna want to see the game 7? Come on, it's rigged. Some fights are probably rigged. We lived in a rigged economy. Um, that's why I want to fight a little bit just to like learn more about what's going on. Maybe rig it against myself. No, I wouldn't do that, would I? So that's interesting. Be careful when you're wagering. It's best not to wager your Bitcoin because you have to think that if you're only wagering 0.01 Bitcoin, that could be $10,000 right now, current value that you're wagering. If you just put it away and forgot about it for a while, that could be $10,000 you're wagering right now. And I sure as hell wouldn't wager $10,000 on anything, even though that's apparently what I've been doing. Maybe I would if it's a percentage of my Bitcoin. It's iffy. If you got the balls to do it, go for it. If you have a really good gut feeling, go for it. Are you going to wager on Bitcoin, the Bitcoin ETF being approved or not being approved? Let's check. I'll update on what the odds are and what I did in the next video on day 1233. I'll let you know what wager I went with or where I was able to do that with. Previously, I love UFC. I love watching UFC. I love wagering on UFC. And when you wager on a sport, it makes it more interesting. Like, I would never have watched the Super Bowl, but I put a little bit of a wager on it, so it made it interesting. I actually left during the third quarter because I thought the Patriots were going to lose. I was like, all right, I'm going to go Uber driving, actually try to make some of this money back I lost so I could put it back in Bitcoin. Oh, I'm getting an Uber now. Where are we at? 5 minutes away. Oh, it's a delivery. We'll go ahead and take that, and we'll go ahead and sign off because I don't have much else to talk about. Hope you guys are having a great day. I'm going to go deliver some food from Sublime Ale House. Yeah, I get some ale myself.